beautiful, soulful being. Welcome back to the Abundance Club podcast. Thank you for being here. I want to share something that I feel like it's a conversation that I love to have. It's a conversation that we've been recently diving into more and exploring within my signature program, Soul and Body Manifestation, and the women that are in there. We're in nearly at week 8 of this program, which is incredible. And specifically, I want to unpack a little bit more around this conversation of divine orchestration and the magic of that. And honestly, this has been something for me that I have lent into and applied in my life since a really early age. I got into manifestation when I was around 16, 17, and started to play with and explore the energetics of manifestation and how we have a role in this, what I now understand to be a co-creative and collaborative process. Really helps when you can understand, what is my role in this sacred dance? What is my role? What is not my role? Who am I collaborating with? What am I collaborating with? And how can I start to harness that power, the magic and the potency of that in my life right now? And what happens when I do? So I want to dive more into that beautiful, juicy conversation with you guys today. Before we do that, please make sure that you have hit subscribe or follow on whatever platform that you are listening to this on. What that means is it stays with you and you will get perhaps the notifications, but it means this podcast stays around you so that you can tap in when the episodes come out. And by gosh, I have some incredible guests that I'm going to introduce you to in the coming weeks, as well as deeper dives into conversations that you love to have and hear and listen to here on the Abundance Club. So thank you for your ongoing incredible support. And if you haven't already written a review, I would so love and appreciate that very deeply. So let's begin by taking a breath. See if you can take a pause. Challenge yourself to take a pause in whatever you're doing right now. I know we like to multitask when we listen to podcasts, but what would it be like for you to actually take a moment to drop into presence? Your presence, your consciousness, your energy is your most precious resource. It's your most expensive resource, right? So I want to honor that within you for a moment. And you have chosen to be here. You have chosen to listen to this. So let's take a beautiful conscious breath together. Just a deep breath in through your nose and a slow breath out of your mouth. Maybe it just feels like a big audible sigh. Take 2 more like that. And just feel yourself center and land one more time. And now that you're here, I want you to feel into all of you and all of you that makes you you, into your wholeness. I talk about when we manifest from a place of wholeness, we are most aligned, most ready and available to call in the miracles that we are seeking, that we are ready and available for on a soul level. The problem is, most of us are manifesting from lack predominantly because we're doing it from our ego mind, and our ego mind believes completely in separation, that we are not what we desire, that we are completely separate from it. And so when we manifest from lack, it's really hard. It creates a lot of gap and dissonance from where we are to what it is that we want to experience in our life. So just reminding yourself, putting your hand on your heart and saying, I'm whole. I'm whole, I'm complete, I'm worthy exactly as I am, is such a powerful thing that you can do. It's a powerful gift that you can give yourself, that you can honor within your soul. And that sends ripples out throughout the world. So thank you for indulging me in that. I know it always benefits us when we can take a moment to just be conscious and return home. So what I want to start this conversation is to talk about one of the biggest illusions that we buy into, that we play out continuously in our lives, which creates and amplifies perpetuates a lot of this myth of separation, because it is a myth. It's not true. We know this. We are a divine soul. We are therefore tapped in and connected with the energy that created everything. We're not separate from it. So we are, in essence, already complete, already whole. We never look at a newborn baby and think, they're lacking something. They're not lacking anything. They're light. We come in as that light, and then we go and we forget, we get amnesia, and we start to believe in the false self or the not self, and that we're separate. Now, one of the biggest illusions within this is the illusion of control. And most of us, many of us, are under this illusion that we are in control of what happens in our life, of how things come about. And really, that control is just a way that the ego, our ego mind, or our not self, likes to flex its dominance because it doesn't believe that it's enough. So we think then that if I'm in control of all of this, that I need to make things happen, that I need to force, that I need to hustle, that I need to do X, Y, and Z. And it perpetually leaves us in this state of anxiety. Because what we do then is we equate the things that we are doing in our output with our worth. And we feel like unless I am doing this, unless I am working in this way or showing up in this way, I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. And insert whatever story that might be for your soul. Insert whatever story that might be that you have adopted in your personality, and only you can know what that is. But underneath it is this need to control outcomes, because that part of us, that version of us, doesn't trust. Doesn't trust that we're exactly where we're meant to be. Doesn't trust that everything is working in our favor. Doesn't trust that things are unfolding exactly as they need to. Doesn't trust that we're going to be shown the way. And I kind of call this edging God out, right? Where the ego comes into play, when we're edging God out, and we're working solo, and it can feel really alone. And this is one of the things that I love to dismantle and guide people out of, because we tie ourselves in knots when we believe in this illusion of control and not enoughness. I look back on my life, you guys, and you can do the same. And I see the way things have come together. There is no way that I myself, little me, could have orchestrated all of those things. I even look at where I'm sitting now in my beautiful house that overlooks the ocean and national park, and it's perfect. It's beyond perfect for what I need in this moment. It's better than I could have ever expected. Did I make that happen? Did I control the situation and when this was going to come on the market at this time and this price? Like, there's absolutely no way that I could have controlled that. When I look back at how my business flourished and the people that came into the business, the right people at the right time, and the people that worked for me, and all of this, like, they were the perfect people at that exact moment. Did I control that and make that happen? I absolutely did not. Like, I can give myself credit in a lot of ways, but there is no way that I orchestrated all of that. And then I look at the sale of my business and the person coming in right at the perfect time, the perfect person who wanted this business. Did I make that happen? No. So what? What then is going on? Like, and really, I invite you to look at that. I invite you to look at your life and go, look at the things how unfolded. Could I have mapped that out? Could I have planned that? And we start to understand that, hang on a minute, there is a bigger unfolding here. Whether you believe it or not, it's hard to ignore that there is a bigger presence, a bigger force or energy that is supporting the orchestration of these events to occur at the exact moment. And this, my friends, is what I like to call divine intervention. So, how do we then begin to work with this? What is this force? We can come to know it as God or source or the divine or the universe or love. Labels don't matter. What matters is that we start to develop our own awareness and our own understanding that something here, and this is really important, something here is working for me. Something here is working on my behalf, setting things up, bringing in the synchronicities, allowing things to come into place for my behalf. And when we start to really work with this energy, we notice the synchronicities. We make ourselves available for the synchronicities and we start to collaborate with this force. And this is a really important piece because although there is this force that's available to us, and I don't know why today I'm using the word force so much, it's just coming through in that way. We also have our own individual free will that we come into this life with. We have free will, divine forces, our angels, ancestors, all of that that exists in this realm beyond our humanness, in the ethereal, unseen realm, requires, it can't interfere with our own sovereign free will. So, in order to start to participate and work with this divine orchestration, we first need to make ourselves available for that, have the willingness to receive that guidance, have the willingness to dialogue and collaborate with this energy. You don't even need to fully understand what this is. You yourself simply knowing there is something here beyond the mind, beyond me and my individuality. And what if I start to lean into that? What if I start to ask that force, that energy, that light to work with me? And this is where things can get really, really interesting. Now, in order for that to happen, a really, really important thing is needed from your behalf. So, yes, it's the willingness. But second of all, we have to be willing to let go. I call it let go and let God. We have to be willing to let go and relinquish the ways that we have had to, or that we have tried to or chosen to control outcomes in our life. We have to be willing to relinquish that. Why? Because we have to make this space to let the divine in. And this is the power of surrender, which I think surrender gets a bad rap because we think back to, we have these notions of surrender in our brain that it means giving up, waving is it the red or the white flag? Like, I give up, I give up. Surrender is, in fact, one of the most powerful portals that you can open yourself up to and embody in order for manifestation and miracles to occur in your life. What is the opposite of surrender? Is resistance. It's control. We are, as we know, and I've said this many times if you've been listening to this podcast, we are energy first. We're energy beings. In fact, everything is energy. We're not separate from that energy. Now, this is scientific as well. We're made up of atoms. If we were to put everything, like all of the actual dense matter that exists, because everything exists in atoms primarily as space, if we were to actually take what is actually physical and we were to take that from the whole world, it would be like the size of a cube, like an ice cube. So even everything that you can see, this table, this chair, that is considered as dense is actually the vibration It's a vibration, it's the frequency of energy moving at different rates. So when we start to understand this, we begin to look at how much we get caught up, so fixated on things needing to be done a certain way, and we grip on we get attached to outcomes. So, coming back to this conversation with energy, I know I derailed a little bit, digressed. Because we're energy, what does energy do? It moves, it's continually moving. What is the feeling when we are resistant or when we're attached to someone? If you're watching this as the video, I'm clenching my fist, like it can feel very contractive. And that's what our energy can tend to do or feel like. It feels more restricted and contractive. Is that the state that we want to be in when we are here essentially to receive? What is it that you want to receive in your life right now? Because I can assure you it already exists as a potential, whether that is love, a love relationship, whether that is financial abundance, whether that is an opportunity, whether that is more like whatever it is already is here and exists for you and it is waiting for you to make yourself available for it. How do you make yourself available? You open up, you let go, you get receptive, you allow the energy to move through you. You allow life to move through you in the way that it is designed to. You let the divine in. So, coming back to those points, we have to have the willingness. Okay, I'm willing to work with you. Let's create some magic. We are co creating. And second of all, okay, where do I need to release the grip here a little bit more? Where can I soften my edges, let go? The reason so many of us resist this step is because we see that as such a vulnerability. Because in order to let go in that way, something needs to die. And it's that part of you, that ego identity that has tried to control things. That's the part that needs to relinquish. But we're so used to being driven and taking action and doing all the things from that part of us that's in survival majority of the time and does not think it's safe to let go. And so it's your job as the conscious being that you are, as the wise one, to tell that part of you a new story. It's safe to let go. It's safe for you to let go. And in doing that, what you are letting in is the opportunity, like the energy that is beyond your logical comprehension, that is beyond what you could have ever created yourself with your logical mind. I have always partnered with the divine, and when you do that, you experience, like honestly, you experience the miracles that are just beyond your usual comprehension. It feels like a miracle because it's something that I could not have mapped this out myself. That's what happens when you start to work with this energy. Call it God, call it source, call it universe. All right, so how do we do that? We surrender, we lean into the surrender. Okay, that might look like, and often surrender can become this kind of final piece. When the ego mind's trying to do it all itself, it's taken all these different roads and it's realized, I can't figure this out. I can't work out this problem. I do not know how to go through this challenge now. I do not know. And that's when the surrender tends to come in. And we have that like fall to your knees moment. And trust me, I've experienced that in my life. But what I want you to know is it doesn't have to get to that point. Like we can actually start to use surrender much earlier on. Okay, this is what's occurring in my life. Or, okay, I'm working towards receiving this. Okay, this is a challenge that I've got right now. Show me the way. I'm willing to hand this over. I trust that you're going to show me the next step. Right? So what I encourage my clients and my students to do is actually start to dialogue. I call it dialogue with the divine. Start to dialogue with the divine. I mean, why not give it a go? You might be listening to this podcast and going, wow, this sounds really woo. This sounds a little bit cray cray, but like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? And you know what? You can even get a bit cheeky and you can say, like, show me a sign. Show me. Make it really clear. Show me a feather or show me whatever it is. Show me that I can work with you. Because this era that we're moving into and the new paradigm, it's the one of soul-led authority. Gone are the days when we are meant to be looking outside of ourselves for the answers. And it's funny because we're in a world where there is so much information, there's so many external voices telling us what to do. But this is a time more than ever that we are being directed to be our own authority, to tap into our own truth. And if there's one thing that I have learned over the last 12 months, and I've learned that through some challenges, is that no one, not me, not another teacher, not a psychic guide, not your mom, not your husband, not your sister, not your best friend, like no one knows what is right for you or what is true for you more than what you know yourself. And this is where we really need to start to trust in our soul, right? You are connected to everything that there is. You are not separate from that. I speak about this a lot. I mean, I love the analogy of we're waves in the ocean. We're tapped into the divine. As my teacher says from her rabbi, like we're someone because we're some of the one. And I love that because it's just immediately gives you this reminder that I'm actually not doing this alone. And if it's one thing that you can take from this podcast episode is that you're not doing this alone. When you believe in separation, when you think that you're your ego and your ego mind, yes, you're going to feel really alone. But when you can understand that this force, this energy, this consciousness is here to work with you, and the potentials that exist within that unseen realm for you in your life are limitless. Like, period. No ifs, no buts. It's limitless. And we as a soul are always looking for expansion because we come from limitlessness, right? Where we come from, our nature as a soul is endless, it's limitless. And then we come in, it's like, how can I experience that limitlessness within these seemingly restricted or the confines of my human self, the human self that believes that it's separate. And so you're here to remember that actually I can have it all, that actually this is available for me. And I have been believing certain rules of society or certain rules from external authority that I have pedestaled, whether that's the medical system or whether that's the government. And now we're starting to ask questions and go, but hang on, what if that's not true? Because I can feel something here in my body. And this is why I love teaching soul embodied manifestation, because it's like, trust in the wisdom of your body. Come back to trust in who you are and what you know to be true. And if it doesn't resonate, that's information. Notice that. Lean into that. Explore that. Because there is a truth that wants to come through you that nobody else knows and can access in the way that you can. And that is the truth for you in your life and what's possible for you in your life. And we have been taught, we've been programmed rather to hold back, to limit ourselves, to not dream too big, to not want too much for ourselves. What does that do? It keeps us in limitation. It keeps us in contraction. It keeps us into smallness. But we're waking up to go, hang on a minute, that actually doesn't serve me anymore. And that doesn't quite add up. Because when I remember that I'm whole and when I feel this energy of being tapped into the divine, and you might feel that from meditation, right? Perhaps you are a meditator and you get that sense of limitlessness when you really drop in. Maybe you're not. Maybe you get it when you're running along on the beach or out in nature. Maybe you get that when you're dancing, or maybe it's when you're cooking, or where you feel like you lose yourself. And what I'm saying is you lose the illusion of your small self and you start to feel like I'm unlimited, I'm expansive. And when you notice that state and how you feel in this state, is it that you feel constricted? Is it that you feel small? No, you actually tap into overflow, abundance. You have then more of you that you are able to give and show up for than you ever have before. And this conversation is now changing to like, how much can I let in? How much can I let myself be in overflow, be in pleasure? And actually, in doing that, I become my most magnetic. I become a steward of the abundance and the life force and the wealth and the joy that's actually my birthright, that actually has never been separate from me. So, why would you choose, in good conscience, why would you choose to not make yourself available for the magic that is here, available for you when you start to remember who you are and you start to tap into divine orchestration and divine alignment? And when you begin to do that, which is what I teach in my programs, when you begin to do that, everything lines up for you with more effortless ease because you're not available for the struggle and the limitation and the hustle and all of that. You line up with your soul, you line up with your truth. You start to get a little more in attunement, get a little more intimate with like, what are my desires? And your desires, guess what, guys? Like, they're signposts, they're signals from the divine, pointing you in the direction, showing you, go this way. You can have this life, that dream that's available for you right now. You don't need to push that aside until a later date. If it's here, it's in your field and it's available for you now. So start to get excited, right? So if we are in this collaboration, this partnership, this co creation, we need to get really good at understanding then, what is my role then? If I'm here not to control the outcomes, what is my role? Your greatest role here right now is your frequency. You are an energetic being, you are an expansive soul, and you get to choose your frequency. And I know you know the days when you're feeling high vibe, when you are feeling like your frequency is elevated. And I know you have those moments and those days where it just feels flat and heavy and dull. And this isn't about being high vibe all the time. But what tends to happen is when we return to ourselves, when we allow ourselves to be our most authentic essence in our truth, not self abandoning, doing the things that actually light us up, loving ourselves, our frequency naturally elevates. We become our most magnetic. So your job is not so much in the doing and the hustle and the output that we've been led to believe, but in your beingness. We don't manifest what we want or what we go out and get or what we go out and make happen and hustle towards, but we manifest from who we are and who we're being and who we're allowing ourselves to be. This is frequency first. And then from there, yes, you're going to tap into the guidance and the wisdom and the inspiration that is speaking to you, saying, hey, make this move, do that thing. Here's the divine idea. Here's the download. Go out. And that's when we start to see the working of the divine coming into play, and we bump into people and we see the synchronicities. We get the confirmation. And that's when we know we're partnering with the divine. When people tell me that they've had like these angel numbers and they're seeing this number plate, I'm just like, that is, we don't need to look into like, what is 222 versus 333? It's like basically it's the unseen, it's the divine communicating to you saying, keep going, you're on the right path, keep staying in alignment. It's that like spiritual confirmation, that additional guidance coming in for you. So that's our role is frequency, making ourselves available to receive. How are you doing that in your life currently? How do you go receiving a gift? How do you go receiving a compliment? How do you go with somebody saying kind words to you? Do you feel comfortable receiving that? Or do you tend to constrict? Do you deflect? Do you push it back straight away? Like, we need to get good at understanding our role as a receiver. In Kabbalah, it said that there is endless light, and we are the vessel to receive the light, which takes me to my next point of your role is like taking care of you and your vessel. Taking really good care of your vessel, how you nourish yourself, the practices that you do, who you spend time with, who is in your inner circle. Where are you placing your attention? What are you consuming? What are you letting into your energy? How are you nourishing yourself physically, spiritually? Where are you putting your energy into your thought patterns and your beliefs? Can you start to take stock and look at actually, can I start to question some of these thoughts? Like, is it actually true? Most of the things that we think is bullshit, it's lies, it's stories that we've just hang on to, and it becomes ingrained as a belief. We don't need to get afraid from that. We can just start to tell it a new story. Actually, this is what I choose to believe. I choose to believe that I'm abundant. I choose to believe that I'm a multimillionaire. I choose to believe that I'm surrounded with beautiful people all the time who see me and love me. I choose to believe that I'm enough as I am. Whatever it is, a belief is just a thought that we have chosen to think or believe over and over and over again. But we can change that. We can make a new decision. So that is part of the way that you take care of your energy and your frequency. That's your role, right? And I'd probably add to that also asking, being in dialogue. Dialogue with the divine. Some might call this prayer. I do it more out loud. You can speak in the shower, in the car, whatever. Like, make the divine your best friend, your lover, your sugar daddy, whatever it is. But don't go trying to attempt to do anything in your life without asking for that guidance, assistance, support, because you are a team. You're a team. The divine is your business partner. The divine is your lover, your husband or your girlfriend or whatever. They're not going to get jealous. It's okay. Just let them know. Like, I'm partnering with the divine. The divine books my appointments, whatever it is. Start to bring that in. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. Okay, so if that's our role, what's the role of the divine? The how, the details, the specifics of things, the timing, the orchestration, the synchronicities, the downloads, right? And that might help to get you clear. Okay, if that's the divine role, then it's actually not up to me to work out the how. When people tell me what their dreams and desires are, biggest thing that holds them back is like, I just don't know how that would happen. Great. You're not meant to know how that would happen. That's actually not your role. You're doing God's work when you do that. Come back to what your role is. Get really good at being in your energy. Get really good at clarifying your vessel. Get really good at the way that you talk to yourself, or the story you tell yourself. Get really good at noticing when you're getting pulled back into the story, when you're getting pulled back into doubt, and choose certainty instead. Choose to know that I'm exactly where I need to be and everything is unfolding and life is rigged in my favor, or whatever. Be as delusional as you want to be. That's your role. And then prepare for what you're here to receive. Neville Goddard would say, like, living from the end state, act as if in your frequency and your energy, it is already done, it is already yours. That certainty diffuses the doubt. And I think that certainty, and I've been teaching this as well to my women inside my program, like certainty, we're going deep. We're doing this over a couple of weeks. Like, how can you be the energy of certainty, not just as a concept, as a nice thought? It's like, what does that actually mean? What are we certain of? And how do we become the embodiment of certainty? Because that is what paves the way for miracles. So I wonder how this sits with you. Does it stir something up in you? Does it challenge you? Does it trigger you? Does it excite you? Are you sitting there going, "You're a nut job, Amy. Whatever. I'm okay either way. I'm all good." But can this be an invitation for you to at least start to get curious? Okay, what if? And maybe I do notice that things happen where I'm just blown away. I'm like, how? I could not have even planned that. Great. You didn't, but you did make yourself available. And you did perhaps hold a clear intention and you did start to dream a little bit bigger. Because here's the other thing: God doesn't have any limits. The divine doesn't have any limits on what's possible for you to draw in. It's not more possible for you to make 500,000 than it is $1 million. It's not even possible that there's just this house that's available for you, but not that one. Like, I'm living proof of that. The things that I've manifested were beyond logic, beyond reason, beyond what it might have looked like on paper. Because we start to play in the miraculous. We start to play in what I call the miracle zone. And if you want to know more about that and get support around that to tap into that and embody that, then reach out. I have another cohort of soul and body manifestation, which is going to be happening in a couple of months. So you can get the early bird for that. I'll put the details in the show notes. Or I do have some one-to-one sessions that are available as well. So reach out if I can support you in any way. If this episode touched you, if you benefited from it, I would appreciate if you could send it to one or two people that you think would also receive benefit from it. And that's my invitation to you, you guys, is how can you move from here and start to maybe open up a new conversation with the divine? Maybe start to allow the divine orchestration to weave its magic into your life. And when you do that, those desires, those miracles, they're not a possibility. They are an inevitability.